Okay, thanks again. Hello, for joining me on going through this lovely book by Dr. Dominic Barbara, and it's called "Your Speech Reveals Your Freaking Personality." Brilliant title. I mean, it says it all, and I can't wait to dive into this with you. We've already kind of dealt with the accolades on the back and the little side panel here. But just keep in mind, we're in 2023 currently, and also beyond, hopefully, reading a book that was published, this one at least, back in 1958. Oh my goodness. Whew, crazy. So let's jump right into this bad boy, man. The one underlying theme of this work is speech and personality are one. The function of speech is not only that of verbal communication, but is also an expression of the individual's relationships to himself, to others, and in groups. A chief purpose of the book is to provide a keener understanding of communicative behavior as it appears instantaneously in everyday and clinical situations. Let's dive into this wonderful collection. Your Speech Reveals Your Personality, written by Dr. Dominic A. Barbara. Dedicated to my wife, Dr. Barbara's wife, Virginia, and our children, Dominic Jr., Joanne, and Paul. We got a forward. Yes, we will. We will move forward with the forward. This is a book about speech. No kid. The most remarkable function of man and the most necessary tool of civilization. So again, guys, as we journey through this book together, I want you to keep in mind, amongst many things, right? Like besides the fact, okay, how can I learn more about me? How can I learn more about others' personality and such? I want you to keep in mind AI, artificial intelligence, aka large language models, because large language models, at least currently, it really operates with like with our speech and our writing, right? And so just kind of like keep that in mind, and how what we're learning, how that relates to artificial intelligence. It is designed to furnish the reader some basic information about language by an analysis of its social functions and of its place in human activities. Talking about this book. Language may be defined briefly and comprehensively as the means of expressing human thought. Structurally, it is composed of a number of systems of conventional signs that have become expressive of ideals. There is probably no speech without some thought, and no thought that is not formulated in terms of language, although it may not be expressed orally. The language systems are acquired at different periods of functional development with motor, sensory, and intellectual components. Mimic language, spoken language, and written language are usually considered as the order of their appearance in the life of the individual. There is a language of music, of painting, and of sculpture and architecture, but these are different systems that speak in special ways of their own. Therefore, for particular purposes, the term speech requires some restriction, or else it could apply to nearly every human action and perhaps to a few of the activities of other animals as well. Wholeheartedly agree. From the most advanced to the most belated of the human races, all members speak with each other. All are able to exchange such thoughts as they possess. Therefore, speech is obviously natural to man, a natural endowment, an invariable possession of which he is the sole possessor. It is one of the fundamental characteristics of the faculties of man. By means of gestures, grimaces, pictorial or written signs, or by combinations of words spoken, men make their thoughts known to other men for the sake of communication. There are numerous needs and urges for expression, such as giving vent to emotions and moods, to shout, to indulge the lost, to make noise, to indulge the lust, to make noise, to indulge the to indulge the lust, to make noise, to discharge affect, expressions to ward off anxiety, to arrest attention, an attempt to bridge interhuman space, to cover guilt and shame, to persuade others, the need to control things, to induce cooperation, to deceive or disguise, and to give expression to creative urges, as well as numerous other functions that might be mentioned. Congenital or acquired disorders of development of any one or more than one of the basic systems of speech expression will produce a characteristic difficulty in the use of language. In severe cases of lack of development of oral language, thought frequently remains. In severe cases, a lack of development of oral language thought frequently remains rudimentary and may never approach efficient abstraction abilities. The therapy or correction of speech disturbances, several of which have complex neurotic components, is one of the highly specialized fields of psychopathology, requiring highly trained, experienced workers. Among the most important of the speech disorders is stuttering, which, despite the wealth of published investigations that has been accumulated in the course of centuries, is still one of the actively controversial and confusing problems to confront the pediatrician and the psychiatrist. There are now probably over 1 million stutterers in the United States, constituting many urgent and fascinating problems for intensive research. Although language phenomena are particularly complex ones, and a great many learned treatises have been written throwing light here and there on their different aspects, here in this book, they are analyzed as an essential part of personality and human life, and living and presented in practical, clearly understood terms. This book represents a sound, earnest attempt in a unique, constructive direction. There is a great deal of interesting historical material in the various chapters. Its theoretical foundations are well formulated, and from his extensive clinical studies, the author offers many excellent supportive examples of his concepts. Dr. Barbara has presented a fascinating study of practical value to all students interested in a topic of this character. They will find the book interesting and informative, and therefore beneficial. And if I may add my 2 cents, sir, is that this also plays a large part and is helpful and applicable to artificial intelligence, large language models. And this foreword was written by Nolan D.C. Lewis. No idea who he is. Acknowledgements. Whew. We just doing this right now. That's what we doing. And the raindrops keep falling on my car. Acknowledgements. This book, in essence, is an outgrowth of my previous one on stuttering. It is also a serious attempt to broaden my scientific horizon by entering into the large scope of speech communication. It has grown primarily out of the following belief: speech and personality are one. In the book, I stress the fact that the function of speech is not only that of verbal communication, but is also an expression of the individual's relationships to himself, to others, and in groups. It is mainly through an understanding of their dynamic interaction as observed in daily situations and under various stress circumstances that we can find some of the answers to the riddle of the complexities of personality maladjustments and those of language. In the main, the book considers 1. Some of the possible reasons why and how our words of speech add to the complexities, mysteries, and confusions in our daily conversations. 2. The various aspects of communicative expressions as they appear in normal and disturbed situations. And 3. The implied message that as man develops the courage to face the truth within himself, the more realistic will be his attitudes and values, leading ultimately to a more meaningful and satisfactory mode of existence. This is profound, well articulated. Wow. Also, as we tend to move closer to ourselves, we give more purpose to our lives and can simultaneously talk more simply, with more feeling, have greater influence upon others, and reach more levels of mutual understanding amongst ourselves. Another main purpose of this book is to give the psychiatrist, the speech teacher, psychologist, or social worker a keener understanding of communicative behavior as it appears instantaneously in everyday and clinical situations. This is with the hope that as the therapist increases his own awareness of the importance of communicative material, that he can then share more fruitfully and constructively in the therapeutic situation. It is also hoped that this book can fill some of the gap between speech communication and personality understanding. And finally, an important aim of this book is to help all of its readers, be they professionals or laymen, to become more effective motivators of productive living. My deepest gratitude belongs to the late Dr. Karen Horney, for without her basic tenets and teachings, this book may not have been possible. Many of the formulations in this book evolved from her constructive theory of neurosis, in which is inherent the belief that man can change and go on changing as long as he lives. I am also indebted to the Association for the Advancement of Psychoanalysis and to its auxiliary group for having given me the opportunity to present some of the viewpoints in this book to both the professional and the layman. The stimulating discussions and helpful criticisms which concurred with these meetings were of tremendous help in further clarification of my concepts. To Dr. Robert T. Oliver of Pennsylvania State University and editor of Today's Speech, I am particularly indebted for his courage in accepting some of my newer psychiatric ideas and for graciously introducing them to those in the speech field in a series of articles in his journal. To Dr. Nolan D.S. Lewis, eminent psychiatrist and presently director of research of the New Jersey Neuropsychiatric Institute, goes my deepest appreciation for his immediate willingness to read. Oh, man. Hope I'm not putting you out to sleep. Willingness to read the manuscript and write a most fruitful and stimulating foreword. This despite his many other responsibilities. To my wife. That's who Nolan was. Dr. Nolan D.S. Lewis, who did the foreword, is a director of research of the New Jersey Neuropsychiatric Institute, which presently is probably no longer alive. But presently at this time of this book, it was back 1958, late 50s, early 60s. So that guy was kicking and rocking. To my wife, Virginia. Some names you just gotta sing. Goes my warmest gratitude for her constant encouraging faith. Yo, can I get a wife like that? I mean, I ain't got a wife, so can I get a wife? Can I get a girlfriend like that? I don't know. Goes my warmest gratitude for her constant encouraging faith in this project and for her most helpful suggestions. Finally, I wish to thank both Carolyn Caroline Williamstag. Carolyn Williamstag. Carolyn Williamstag. Carolyn Williamstag. Wow. Williamstag. Williamstag. Wow. Williamstag. Caroline. Both Caroline Williamstag and Isabel Frank for reading and editing parts of the manuscript. Shout out, bro, to Dab. Dominic A. Barbara. Dab. It says Dab. He put Dab, bro. He kneweth it not that in 2000s, in the late 2000s and 10s, there will be a trend called the Dab. There'll be a dance movement, a revolution of the Dab. Table of contents. It's a tui for iwi. Tui for iwi. I'm just gonna do a separate video for this, because I'm trying to pump out some content. Alright, guys. Peace out. Blessings, man. Your speech and your personality, bro. I can't wait to jump into this. You feel me? Let's get it.